This is the It's Time to Refresh podcast with Brad Riffresh, the podcast about life, music, traveling, shit, literal shit that is, and weird and wacky stories with Brad, and a range of guests from the planet Earth. Feel free to share the pod with your pals, your mom, your neighbor's dog, or even your shrink. It's all fun. You can follow our Facebook group called It's Time to Refresh Community, or It's Time to Refresh on Instagram. Write into the pod, ask questions, and share your stories. Enjoy the pod.
Hey kid, what time is it?
It's time to refresh.
You all right? How we doing? Just want to take 2 minutes of your time before we start this week's podcast to tell you about our Patreon. Patreon is a tool that we're using to help the podcast grow, give you better content, and, well, as I said, just let the podcast grow. So we've got 3 tiers. The first tier, there's only 20 of these spaces available, and it's £1 for life, and that's for It's Time to Refresh Originals. So if you've tuned in from day one and you want to join the cause, you can sign up for £1. Just follow the link in the description. We've got the standard Patreon, which you get access to bonus episodes, some exclusive content, Patreon specials, which we'll be recording, and early access to all future episodes. So you'll be getting them on a Tuesday instead of a Friday, which I think is fucking amazing for £3. That's less than a coffee. And then we've got our legend status VIP Patreons, which is £10. And that gets you tickets to all my gigs, and it will get you free entry to any It's Time to Refresh associated events, gigs in the future. So that's a little hint of what's coming up in the future. If you do like the podcast, then please share it with your mates. We are trying to grow this little thing we've got going. We've got some amazing guests coming up in the future as well, and we want this to go bigger and better. So sign up at Patreon at patreon.com/It's Time to Refresh. Thank you. Enjoy the episode. Back once again with another podcast. On this one, we've got Joey T, Joe Taylor.
Hello.
How we doing? Welshman. It lives in a proper weird place, mate. Like, it's not that bad. It is. Like, no, I thought Cumbria was bad, but like, when it comes down to it, like, this is proper outback. This, it's in the mountains. Nah.
With the sheep.
No, how you doing, mate? All right.
Yeah, all right, mate. Yeah.
All right. We've just been talking off pod there. You've got Let's Have It Tonight, yeah?
Yeah.
So you look forward to that?
Yeah, definitely. It's one I've wanted to do for a while now. So with the production and that, and it, do you know what I mean? It's a bit different, isn't it?
It
looks good. Do you know what I mean?
My thing to you is, like, obviously you don't know which Joe Taylor you're gonna get when you do things. So like, no, not in a negative way, but like, I've name dropped you on a couple of the podcasts saying about, like, 'cause I like your DJing style.
Yeah.
When I first heard you were doing what was I think the first one I heard you was like bouncing. So it was like the 160 mixes with the vocals and stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, I put it out now. And then from there, I heard you on Dose of Donk, so it was you played the tougher stuff as well.
Yeah.
So like, I've always thought, I don't know, I've never seen you play any other like house music or out like that.
No.
So I thought I think you're quite a versatile DJ within bounce. I can't speak for anything else.
I've never played, like, a lot of me mates into house and stuff like that, and they're always like, why don't you get into it? I just never have. I've never even tried to get into anything else other than bounce.
Yeah.
I think because I wouldn't know where to start either. I wouldn't know where to look for stuff. I wouldn't know. I like to think with bounce. I like to think I know what people like.
Yeah, I think you're very, very. I've said this before, and I think I was talking to someone about it the other day, saying that, like, you seem to always have a full dance floor when you're on.
Yeah.
Just because you're good at reading the crowd. So let's say you're rocked up to say like something like a medicine or something like that.
Yeah.
You can adapt to that very quickly, and
Yeah.
you'll have the MCs loving it because.
Well, this is what I put a status up the other day about Let's Have It, why I'm looking forward to this one, because I think, you know yourself, a lot of these nights now, you got 10 MCs on.
Yeah.
And I play vocal. Mm-hmm. My main thing's vocal. I play, personally, I prefer a set without MCs.
Yeah.
because I know I could play better, I could play my own stuff then. When you're playing with MCs, you've got to cater them as well. They don't want to be, I'll still always put some vocal stuff in,
Yeah.
but you have to play a bit harder or play a bit
Well,
with a lot of drops, don't you?
Well, I've found with you, I don't think I was maybe narrow-minded, but like up until I heard you, I always thought you played like up front with the bouncing mixes. I was always like up front bounce, and obviously with the like the DoD type stuff as well.
Yeah,
you play some more of the rushy stuff. But
yeah.
I remember meeting you. No, I didn't meet you. I met you before that. But I remember being on the same night. You were on after me at Combination in Stockport.
Right, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah,
It was like a youth club or something.
I think I remember. Yeah,
that's what it felt like. It was like a pool table.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
and then you came on after me, and you played like a mixture of like I would call them new classics, so like sort of like a bit of KB Project. And like more like sort of mid 2000s vocal stuff, and I was like, oh, he's got a range. Like,
normally I always, especially the new stuff, like when we bouncing CDs, and I've always tried to put the new stuff that come out at the time. But if I'm playing in a club, I'll always play a mixture of, well, depending on the crowd, yourself, it depends on what type of crowd you got in.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's why I think I've always referenced you, because like whenever I've seen you, there's not many I've seen DJs fall on their ass, like even some of the best DJs.
Yeah.
Whether I've just caught you on your good days or not, I don't know. But no, do you know what I mean?
Like, you could even caught me in a club after sight.
But like, I think I first met you at Penny Blacks. We were talking about you a minute ago, weren't we? Penny Blacks for bouncing in 2015, and I seen you on then, and I think I was on after you, and you were playing a set, and you just seemed to like there wasn't like you wasn't rammed. But everyone who was there was on the dance floor.
Yeah,
it's like you seem to have handled it well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you how long you been doing it now for though, DJing and that?
2010 was my first.
So you've got a lot of experience there with like. You could put a song. You could go to some nights. You could put a song that you think's going to work, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I always say you need to have an idea what you're going to play to get everyone back on. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But that doesn't always work. You could go to some nights and you're just thinking, I'm here for an hour now, and everything I'm playing's not working. Do you know what I mean? And
you do get tough crowds and that, like. But as I say, like I've seen people tank before. I've tanked myself.
Yeah.
But it just seems to be every time I've seen you, you just seem to have the sort of crowd in your hand.
Yeah.
Sort of controlling it well. Like I say, that's just what I've seen of you.
Yeah.
But and I think you've got a good rep within the scene. I think so personally.
Yeah.
Like I think that you're known as like to promoters maybe versatile.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as I say, right, I mentioned it sort of Penny Blacks and that there. What's the local scene like now for you?
Not good at all, really. I do the Russian Soldiers nights tonight round here, and I've give up on them. To be fair, you could make a bit of money on it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's not all about that either. Do you know what I mean? You want to put a good night on. With Russian Soldiers, it's never been a thing of I want to build it up to Sopranos or anything like that. Yeah. It's because it would never do that. It's more of a thing with me and my mates and the ones round here, just something on for them.
Yeah.
But the last couple we done, it's been all right, but they're not what I want to carry on doing.
It's not as enjoyable as...
No, I've got one... Well, it was supposed to be the other week, but it got cancelled because Central Station had it there, but it's closed down.
Right.
So I had to move. I got Siobhan Gallagher doing the PA. So I'm doing like an over 25s, but I'm going for more the old school vibe with that. Do you know what I mean?
So is it a big old school scene around here, would you say? Like,
classics?
Classics.
But I think you look at a lot of the classic events now, that's where
I know I jokingly said to you about like when I came here, I said, oh my god, this is just like exactly like Cumbria, what it's like. But I've always found whenever I've played down this way, it's always a similar sort of it's a similar vibe.
Yeah, to go backwards around here and up there.
I said on the last podcast, I said Cumbrians are fucking mental. But like when I went into that Penny Blacks, they are fucking mental. Like, But I find you won't see people travelling to Wrexham from out of town sort of thing. So it's a similar.
This is the thing, because when we were younger, there'd be buses from here going to Wigan every weekend. Do you know what I mean? You don't get that from round here now. And the thing is, everyone will say they're coming out, but they probably end up getting out on it in the house instead.
Yeah, like a day of sort of let you down on that.
Yeah.
It sounds very similar to the scene of Power, where like sometimes you could have some of the best nights of your life.
Yeah.
Other times it could be as dead as a doornail.
Yeah.
I think that's what I found, anyways.
Yeah.
I know we sort of got into it here, but I want to start from the beginning with you, because I don't know a great deal about your early days.
Yeah.
I think I first heard you in the sort of Bluetooth era on the bouncing mixes, the early ones, and then I think I heard what did I hear of yours? Let me see. I think it was maybe a Sanctuary demo you put out.
Right, yeah.
Does that ring a bell?
The Dulce Donk one.
No, it was a Sanctuary demo I think you put out.
Bit harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Spanish and all that on it. Yeah, I know what
so
you're talking
I think that's
about,
when I first heard of you, sort of late noughties.
Yeah.
I'd roughly say.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know a bit more about you. So do you want to take us back to the beginning? How did you get into it?
I think so. Obviously, like when you started secondary school, you're in year 7 and that, and I think someone said, "Oh, you come to the under 18s,
right,
round town, like." So started going round there. And I think that's probably when I had my first bit of thing for it, do you know what I mean? Because with the music and that as well.
Right. So what was the scene like round here for a young lad? Like, did you have CDs or what was
it's all, well, obviously when we were in school, it was all the bonkers tapes and all that, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? Me and my mates would always get them. And then, but with Wrexham, it's always been a big, like that Peppers, the place I'm on about, where they used to do the under 18s. They used to have like Lee Butler on every week on a Saturday. Used to have Monster Jam there.
Right, so they bring out a towners and it would
so
would
it was all. They've always had. It's always been a big dance place. Wrexham K-Class are from here.
Yeah.
You know, you've always had. It's always been there. So like, especially with like Butler, Dave Graham on every week. It's always been that type of music. Scouts House.
Yeah.
You know that when Scouts House was coming through. Do you know what I mean? So it's always been that, and so I think obviously, we used to go to the under 18s.
Yeah.
And I think it was probably when I was about 14, I started wanted to get into the decks and the vinyls and that.
Right.
Then.
So was there much of a scene for like as school kids?
No, it wasn't really a thing round here that loads were DJing then. Do you know, it's different now, isn't it? With the controllers, everyone's doing it now. Do you know what I mean? But back then it wasn't, and I think I landed lucky because a lad who I knew from the under 18s, he used to DJ at the under 18s. He was a bit younger than me, and but he worked in a record shop in town.
Right.
So when I started getting into it, he was like, "Oh well, I'll try and get you a set at the club, like," and then I literally got straight into it.
Right.
Probably couldn't even mix, do you know what I mean? But I did pick it up quick.
Yeah.
Because I always you need to have an idea with your music, especially the music you're playing.
Right. So when you're saying like you got your first set and that, what was the tunes? Was it the Scouse stuff you were playing? Or?
Yeah, it was. Like what was it? More like the German trance, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
all that type
like
of
Euro
stuff.
Yeah,
like the Euro
like
stuff.
Glasgow and stuff like
that. And you know, face down, ass up, and all that type of
early
stuff
PCDs,
at the time.
Really,
yeah.
So how did your first gig go?
I can't remember. I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. It's been that long ago, because that's like 21 years now since we first one.
Jesus.
You know, it's a long time, isn't it, really?
Is, yeah.
But
can you remember going into the club for the first time? Like,
I honestly can't remember the first time. You know, I bet you a lot of people will say I remember my first one. Like,
yeah.
I'd tell a lie. Before I'd done Peppers, I'd done the first half hour on Central Station under 18s. Right. And I can remember playing my first song was, do you remember the picture discs? And it was that duck one.
Duck picture discs.
That rubber ducky tune.
Yeah.
That climbed up on top of me, that one.
Yeah.
Because I remember playing that, and it was like Stuart Now I'm Free. And it was only half an hour, and then ever since then I started doing that Peppers. So it was only 14, 15 then, because I looked older, they let me do the over 18s as well. So straight away I was, and you're talking even the under 18s at the time getting 900 people in there.
Yeah, so it's sort of peak time going on.
Yeah, so I got chucked in at, like, do you know what I mean?
The deep end.
The deep end, really. Even though, like, but with the lads who were doing it, it was never no pressure.
Yeah.
If I messed up, I messed up.
So when you were starting to do these over 18s, who was the names who were in the clubs? Is anyone still in the same?
No, there was a lad called Jamie Lee. It was just local lads, really, but the club was £10 in, drink all you want. So you can imagine it then, do you know what I mean? It was rough in there as well. Like. So I think I was lucky being younger, going to that type of place, because, years ago, a lot of the clubs you go to were rough, weren't they?
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean? You don't get it too much anymore, I don't think. There's not really clubs I've been to in the last 10 years when you walk in and you think, fuck, it's rough here.
The last 10 years, I could probably think of one, maybe.
Go on.
I got booked to play for... a lad contacted me from, what was it, Accrington?
Oh, Accrington. Tell it,
That was the last time I was in a club where I was like, I don't feel safe here.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there was a riot, but, like, it was a full-on gypsy riot. Like, there was loads in, and you knew there was I can remember walking in, and who was on the decks at the time? I can't even remember who it was. And I remember walking over to the DJ box, and it was like, there was an atmosphere there. Like, I remember that there was lads around the bar, like gypsies, and they kept like shoulder barging everyone who was going for a drink just for a kick off. And I remember, I was with it at the time. Oh, do you know Stu C?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
And Matt Connor.
Yeah.
I was with them, and we were having a crack on that in the smoking area, and we came back in, and all of a sudden there was a kick-off, and it was all gone mental, and then the fucking bouncers were getting like hide, and it was heavy, like. Yeah. And then I just remember a bar stool just coming right past me, and it was just like, yeah, I maybe should have done this. But it's mad though,
because I think a lot of clubs, some people will say they're rough, and I don't think they are. Do you know what I mean? Or a lot of people wouldn't think they're rough.
Nah,
do you know
I'm like that. Like, you go in and be like, oh, it's rough in here. I'm like, well, no, it's just a standard
that Peppers. That's anyone. If you ask anyone from Wrexham, it was like everyone rough. It was rough, but I never felt unsafe. There, do you know what I mean? Unsafe in there.
Yeah.
Never had a problem in there, but that's because I was there every week. I knew everyone. Do you know what I mean? I knew who was there.
Yeah.
I was younger, so I've been brought up
into it.
Really. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
So I've found that when you see this type of thing, so for instance, I used to run a night in a place called TJ's. It was an underground bar.
Yeah.
It wasn't massive, maybe 100 people, something like 150 maybe at the max, and I always gauge something on like out of towners. So let's say like an out of towner came in. If you were getting funny looks and that, I think I'd call that rough. Yeah. Everyone thought DJs was rough. Yeah. Right, but when I booked DJs who come from out of town and that, welcoming as fuck. Like, is it rough? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas when I went to the bridge, that was rough. Do you know what I mean?
I think the first time I went to Accrington, I literally pulled up and two girls were scrapping with some lad, and I was just like, oh, they are right. What they say about here, like.
Yeah. I remember playing in, I can't remember who the event was for now. It was in Fleetwood. I don't know who runs it, but
that one, what was it called? I think I got booked for it. I got booked for one. I'll tell you later on. It's a good one, like. But I think I turned up there, and the club was closed down because someone had been stabbed in it.
Oh wow. It wasn't that bad, like when I got there, it was I went in. I took one of my mates with me who's never been to any sort of bounce nights or like that. And we walked up, and he goes, "What the fuck?" And I remember that half of the building was missing. There was like, so they just knocked down the next door.
Yeah,
they hadn't filled in the side of the building. It was just all like girders and everything. And I was like,
was it with Rico and Woody and that?
Rico was on there.
I think,
I can't remember what the event was called, but it was like, I can't remember who even was on that night, to be honest with you. And anyways, I went in there, and like, I was like, oh, it's not the best, but it's not like a pure shithole. even though there was half the building missing. But you go in there and it was just a standard bar, really.
Yeah.
If that was located on like Magaluf Strip, you wouldn't go. I'm not going in there. You go in and have shots.
Of course you would, like, yeah.
So yeah, you started getting. We sort of went off on one there, but like you started getting bookings underage and stuff and thing.
Yeah.
Were you recording CDs at this point, or like that, or mixes, or tapes, or of any sound?
I used to do tapes and all that in school. Not really, only showing me mates and that. Nothing like putting around.
Were your mates coming to the events? Like, were you get like
when obviously they were old enough to come to the events and all that. Like, 'cause a lot of them looked younger than what they think. You know, do you know what I mean? And they'd always come every week. We'd always have wherever it was.
I don't know about now for you. You saying you're 21 years in, whatever.
Yeah.
I found when I was in school, I could just go into school and the ones I knew who were into it, I could mention it to them, and you wouldn't even have to ask them to come; they'd be there. If there was under 18s on, I can remember going to under 18s with what was that? Was it Chipmunk? It was called. He came and done our area, and we all went to that, and it wasn't even like we didn't even question it. It was just right, we'll go there, sort of thing. And then when I started getting gigs and stuff locally, it was like, oh, Brad's on here, so we'll just go here. And that was sound.
Yeah.
Now I can't fill a car.
Oh no, me like
if I say to my mates, like, to be fair, none of my mates really like bounce music.
Yeah.
So but if I say to my like core group of friends, like, do you want to come to this? Or even the ones who like the locals to me who like bounce, they'll say, oh, I don't even be asked to drive.
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's a long time. It's a long thing when you've got to drive somewhere. You know yourself, being from miles away from the likes of Wigan and stuff like that, where you're probably going to get booked and round there. It's a long drive, and you're on your own coming back at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And you know, it's a shit, isn't it? Really. You know, that is the worst part about it, I think. Like,
I remember playing in Bolton. I can't remember what the club was called now. Was it J2? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
Right. So I was playing there, and I brought one of my cousins down with me, and he likes that, like, sort of getting on it and that, like. Yeah. So went into the club and that, and as soon as we arrived, he's like, "That's fucking some drive there," and then he loved the night, absolutely loved it. He was proper right amongst it. But we were coming home and he's like, as much as I love that night, it's not worth the drive. No. So it's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Like.
But years ago, the people were coming up at an eyelid.
Oh yeah, we used to go everywhere. Like, you know, there'd always be buses full of us. Like, especially because when we started going to the pier, and they had a lot of people who used to go back then. They used to have like the Wrexham corner and that. Yeah. We'd have like 6-7 minibuses every Friday. You didn't have to worry about how you get in there, because you could turn up to Lloyd's at 6 o'clock, and if someone's there, you could jump on the bus and come back. You wouldn't have to arrange it then. Do you know what I mean?
Class.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. That being said, do you think bounce is bigger now, or do you think it was bigger back then? Because now, if you attend something like I've got mates who are in acquaintances that I know of, say from work or just socially, and if they see when Peter on the Pier's on, they're straight there. Like, they no questions asked. Like,
is that just because it's
like the occasion, isn't it?
Everyone's jumping on a bandwagon type of thing? Do you know what I mean? Because I know there's a lot of people that go to Pier, but they wouldn't go to any other event.
Yeah,
they wouldn't
found that definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I think bounce is more accepted now though than it was.
Yeah.
Fuck off. No, I find it more accepted though. Like, there was an era where I was embarrassed. Like, this is a little thing I'll get into like quickly, but I remember the second company I worked at when I finished school. I worked there sort of 4 years before anyone found out I was a DJ.
Yeah.
And it was only because I didn't tell anybody about it. I'll tell you why, but it's random. But I went into reception one day and they'd got a new apprentice, and she come to the events.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, Brad. Oh no. So then, oh, do you know him? Yeah, he's a DJ. He does a good events.
I hate it, stuff like that, mate.
And then I thought that was it, right? That's it. I went into like the HR department because I had a problem with my wages later on.
Yeah.
And I went in and they were all putting videos and then going, "I'm going to put a dunk on it," and all this. Like,
I can't stand it, mate. Honestly,
that was one reason.
Yeah.
I wasn't embarrassed for it, but it just wasn't.
It's not you.
Yeah, it was.
Not, yeah.
People look at you different after that.
No, I'm the same because a lot of people love the attention, don't they? They love the thing, and I've got not embarrassed about it and stuff like that. But it's just not me to be like,
look at me.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
because I found a lot of people started treating me differently. I'm not saying I'm any big DJ or anything like that, but for instance, this is one thing that happened. I went and as soon as I found out, I think this was on like a Thursday.
Yeah.
Like the following Monday, we came in at 6:30 in the morning, sent for a drugs test.
Yeah.
Right, sent for a drugs test the following Thursday. I mean, and bear in mind, I'd only been drugs tested when I first joined.
Yeah.
So what was that about? Do you know what I mean?
had one before when I went to a party up in Wigan, I think it was, and someone had one of my CDs on in the party, like, and this lad was going, is that your tail? He's a right knobhead, him, and I'm sitting here, and then the girl who was with at the time was like, "Do you even know him?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know him." And I'm sat here, like, and I'm listening to him, like, and he's going, "Yeah, he's a fucking, he's a knobhead, this and that." And I was like, "Well, how do you know him?" Like, he's like, "Oh, I bought a CD off him and all that from the market in Wigan or something like that." So people, it just goes.
Someone pretending to be you.
Well, I can't see. I think he's just wrecked, and I think he's just thing. But people are saying stuff, and they don't even know you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they know the name, but they think they know you, but they haven't got a clue about you. Do you know what I mean?
It's like I said to you off the pod. We were talking, and it's like I did a podcast with one person, and he said to me, "He says, I thought you were a knobhead, but you're all right, aren't you?" And I was like, "What made you say that?" He's like, "Maybe I don't know. I thought you were." And I was like, "Nice one." Do you know what I mean? But so we sort of went off subject again there.
Yeah, it's going to go all over the place, isn't it?
I don't
Everyone's going to be like, "Look at what's going on here."
But I want to get back into your sort of journey.
Right, yeah.
When was your first out of town gig?
Out of town, cricketers.
Cricketer,
yeah,
right.
Out of Wrexham, yeah.
Right, and how did that's just random, so how far away it is or what?
I think what it was, when I used to do Peppers, there was a lad who used to DJ there now and then called Bonner, and he used to do a lot with Sanctuary, I think it was at the time. Also, he used to do it with Gary Select's Meltdown.
Right, Meltdown.
But he'd done stuff for John G and that in Club 111. Mm-hmm. So Gary had come down, Gary Select's come down to Wrexham one day, but I think it was to look at one of the lads who was a bit older than me, DJing. Everyone said he was going to be the next big, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think Gary had come down just to see him, really, about putting him on in Crick.
Right.
And I think I wasn't booked to DJ at this place. I'd just gone on.
Did you know what the Crick was at the time, being from down this way? Because I don't know how far if it's reached you.
Yeah, would have, because obviously everyone had that Crick CD from years ago.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Our area had a mixture of about 6 or 7 different CDs that just sort of circulated, and that's how we knew what the Crick was.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's
because them CDs are everywhere, don't they? You find a lot of the CDs are like. So obviously knew what Crick was. Because when I started, I never thought I want to DJ it or I've never planned where I want to go.
Just enjoy music.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I've never thought I want to better myself, really. I'm just happy with whatever I've had.
Yeah.
So, I remember going on, and I remember coming off the decks, and Gary had come up to me and he goes, I've come to see him. He said, but I want to put you on instead.
Right.
He was like, do you want to come do Crick for me? And I was like, oh yeah, I could do. I was like, when's the date and that? And he gave it me, and I was like, well, totally honest with you, I'll be going to Pier that night, because we used to go Pier every week.
Yeah. I
said, I'll be doing Pier that night. I said, so if you're going to put me on, make sure it's after 3 o'clock, so I can go to Pier and then come there, like.
Yeah.
So that's how I got in the Crick.
So when you went there, was it busy? What was it like?
No, I think, it wasn't busy at all. Because did you ever go Crick?
No, mate, I'm not old enough, mate. I'm 26.
I think I was 16 then when I went to Crick.
Yeah.
I think I remember going there, and we had a minibus from Wrexham, and everyone was supposed to come to Crick after, but everyone's mangled on the bus at the end of it. Like, so I went in there, and they used to have like a webcam and that where you said take your photo. Honestly, it was fucking rum in there. And I'm sure that night they ran out of beer, and they had to go to Asda 24 hour and come back with crates of like Carlin. They were charging like £5 a can and that. Like they're warm, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So can you remember who was on that night? Like, because for me, I say this to everyone who comes on. It's like you've heard the CDs before you've been to the place.
Yeah.
So when you went in, was it what you expected?
Probably because, like I said, that Peppers I used to do, K1, that was a shithole.
Yeah.
Crick was a shit. Crick was just more like a social club, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just rough. I know that like Candy was on.
Right.
That's how I met Candy. I know Candy was on. Pilkey, if you ever heard of him, the MC Pilkey was on. And then obviously Gary Selects and all that. But I remember, because obviously it's my first one out of town, I planned a set. Right. The first and last time I've ever planned a set this. And it was vinyl back then as well. There's no USB and all that. Like, so I planned my set and I planned all my vinyl.
So did you just take that vinyl with you as well?
Yeah, near enough, do you know what I mean? Right. Yeah, a couple more.
I can see where this is going.
Yeah, and honestly, and I'm not even just saying it, right? So say I've gone on at like 5 o'clock, we've gone to Piers, so I must have been there for the set before me, whoever's on before me, and he played everything I was going to play. And I know it's easy saying that, but he did, do you know what I mean? Every tune, I'd say 90% of the tunes I was planned to do that hour, they played.
So did you still play it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah, because there's no one there anyway, so no one noticed. But ever since then, I've thought I'll never plan a set.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't feel the need to do it because I remember I planned a set, I can't remember when it was. I remember the club being busy, it was in that TJ's, and I planned a set and I thought, this will go nice into this, and then I was playing and the crowd weren't singing it, so I got about 4 tracks in, and I thought, right, I'm going to have to just fucking switch on here. And then it just went off the thing, and I thought, it's no point doing it.
That's the main thing. It's, anyone can play any song they want to play, but you need to work the crowd, do you know what I mean? You need to be able to, that's the main thing I've got, and you'll be the same now. How many times have you gone into somewhere, and they're playing Spanish, and not one person's liking it, but they'll carry on playing it. And to them, they're just like, yes, I'm playing this. And you're just thinking, but can you not see? Can you not see in front of you? Not got eyes? Can you not see what's in front of you? Like, it just baffles me head. Like,
I'm always very picky with when I put lineups together and stuff like that. That I've got people I trust.
Yeah.
And I've got people who I just think straight off the bat, like, I can't put you on because you're a liability.
Yeah,
Not a liability, but fuck me, this bar's saying to me, right, as long as you keep them in all night, we're sound.
Yeah.
But if you're coming on and you blast them, I know you were known for it, but like if you're blasting out sort of 155.
Yeah, but I never in a club. I never that much in a club, you know.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. When you were there, I've always seen you, and you've controlled it well.
Yeah.
But I never understand the people who you go in at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
If you're like, it's at 10 o'clock at night, the locals, they're not wrecked most of them.
Yeah.
They'll walk in and all there is bump, and then it's like.
But the warm up set's gone now, isn't it? You don't have anyone that really does a good warm up set.
But
I'm
Captain Warm Up.
No, but I'm the same. I've always said if I was going to put an event on, my perfect warm up DJ for 2 hours would be Rob Keane.
Yeah.
From if no one was in, do you know what I mean?
Yep.
But then if you know yourself, if you're putting Rob on a night, it's a waste of time putting him on that early because no one is going to pay any attention to it. I'd be happy, you'd be happy listening to it, and you'd be like, but no one else would.
I remember 2000 and I think I've referenced this in the podcast before, but I'm very I'm trying to sound it so I don't sound like a dickhead, but I'm very judgy when it comes to sets. There's not many DJs where I'm just like, wow.
No, I'm not at all. I'm not at all.
To me, I've played at nights where all the sets have just rolled into one, and no one's done anything memorable.
Yeah.
Right, but I remember going to it was the CAF at the time, so Pure, and it was Boxing Day, 2013, and Kenty had put on Robber's warm-up. Don't know why, like, whether it was, whether he had other gigs out of Wigan. And honestly, it's like, I can remember every single track he played in that order. And I've never seen a warm like it. And, like, you seen people, like, they weren't going to the bar, they were staying on the dance floor. And it's just like, even to this day, like, I know, I don't want to sound like I'm sucking ass or anything like that, but because I'm not. But there's only so many people that I've seen that I'm wowed by.
Yeah, no, I'm honestly, I totally agree with you. And that's not me, like, thinking, oh, I'm better, or I could do better. I just don't. I totally agree with you. I always say it like there's not many. Do you know what I mean?
But it's
there's
like
obviously a cut a few, which are fucking. Do you know what I mean? They're godlike. But
last week, for instance, I was down in Liverpool. It was my mate's birthday. We went on a night out and we ended up in that aura where Rob's at.
Yeah.
And it was maybe 1-2 o'clock in the morning, and I got a drink in that, and like. I was there, and I just remember thinking, like, he's there playing away, and even doing the house stuff, I was like still mind blown at what he was doing. Like, he was throwing mixes in, like it was like nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a big fan of these big long mixes. I'll make that known, but like, it's got to be done properly. But like the way he was controlling the crowd, what sticks out in my head was he was playing like a version of Michael Jackson Beat It.
Yeah.
Right, and he knew that was working.
Yeah.
Right. So like he looped the sort of breakdown.
Yeah.
And he had people, like, there was people singing and that in there. And then I was just like, he knows what he's doing.
But I think as well with stuff like that, I think when you've got like a residency in a bar or club,
it's a whole different type of DJ, isn't it?
It's a different type of thing. But as well, when you're doing it every week and you can try different things, you can learn different things. I've always said it, do you know what I mean? Even if you think, right, I'll try this, if it works, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But then you'd have that for the next time when you've got an hour set, because you're not going to try loads of mad different stuff on an hour, are you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
If you've got that way to try, so like I used to have a residency at one of the clubs up my way, and then I'd play like sort of a variation of stuff, and you just get to know that, right, this tune, I'll just keep. This is if I'm starting to lose people, I'll just put it to one side, fire it in. Educate yourself.
Yeah.
I think nowadays though, like I remember, there was a DJ that I rate. I don't want to name drop because that's just being fucking rude. But like there was a DJ that that sent me mixes on SoundCloud, and I thought, you know, they're pretty good them. But they're going in the wrong way about it, because so basically they were playing sort of 150 peak time, really donk rush tackle stuff.
Yeah.
And I know if they were going to get booked for an event, they'd be playing warm up or like. And my theory was right though. So what had happened was there was an event on. This person was on, and I seen when they sent the set times to the group. I thought I'll go a little bit early because I want to see what this person can do, because they're pretty good DJs. Like the mixing's tight and it's good tune selection. And it was the same again. They got there and it was 9 o'clock, and they were playing 150 banging.
But I do think as well, depending on the event, you could get away with starting off at 1:55 straight from 9 o'clock. I do think with the type of what event it is, if you were going to like Sopranos, I'm not being funny, you could bang it from the word go,
absolutely.
and that's what people would want there. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't want a warm up set really. They'd want to be straight into it, because a lot. If you notice now with these events, the queues outside before the doors open, and they're more up for going in, aren't they? Because I've always said,
and pre-parties as well, like going to someone's house and then they've got the tunes on at 150. So if you come in a club and it is at fucking 140, 145, and it's like you lost the energy that they were used to. Do you know what I mean?
You know, definitely. Like I do think, you know, depending on the event. And I do think, you can get away with it now, like these days. Like,
I don't want to.
But I'm not saying like Spanish and all that. Like, I'm not saying that. But go a bit. Do you know what I mean? But you could.
Oh, I think you maybe not understand what I meant. If you want context of what I meant for this DJ, the DJ in the first hour played Spaniard.
Right, yeah,
So,
that's what I mean. That's a bit,
I rate them as a DJ.
That's what I mean, yeah. That's a bit too much, innit?
Yeah.
But you could still pump it up a bit.
Oh, you could play 150 fucking vocal and
Yeah,
you've never done
exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah,
you've
but
just
no,
got
but
reading
no,
the
but
crowd.
even you could play depending on the thing. But I wouldn't go for Spanish and all that. Do you know what I mean? More rush tackly stuff, maybe. To get
absolutely.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went off on one again, but like it's just one of them things that happens, isn't it? So you've done your cricket and stuff like that. Did you, at this point, did you feel like you'd getting your name about a little bit at all? Obviously, locally you will have been, won't you? Because you consistently.
I was, to be fair, with me. A couple of years later, with me CDs, obviously, I was getting about. Everyone knew them. Do you know what I mean? But I just took it as like. Do you know? I think at the time, it was when the likes of. The internet was coming in more to it then. Do you know what I mean? It was that time.
Yeah. Were you aware that they were reaching up my way or out like that? Did you know? Or like, were you aware?
No, not really. You find out later on, don't you? In the year. But I didn't know no one from up there really. So
right.
I suppose you'd have people messaging you. I knew it was quite thing in Wigan, but I always thought it would be because that's where.
Yeah, it's a hub, isn't it?
Yeah.
But so like, what gigs were you playing after this? Like, now you're sort of, I would say, sort of getting out there. You're putting your mixes out and stuff. Like, where did it pick up at?
I just used to do all over the place, really. I used to do a lot in Stockport.
Right.
That Bamboozler and that. We used to Medicine come about.
Yeah.
To do Medicine. Most of it was down Wrexham.
Right.
And obviously I was putting my own nights on. That's how I got like to know like Finchies and John and all that, and Alex, Frequency lot, RG.
Can you remember the first night you put on?
No.
No. Your memory is shit. Your memory is shit. But like, I'm just trying to get to gauge of where you were.
I think what I was lucky with that club, like I said, with Peppers, they were getting like 1,000 a week near enough in there. So when I started putting on events on, they'd come anyway. I didn't have to promote it. I didn't have to. You could put nights on. You didn't have to say, easier this week. You'd obviously do a poster and that, but it wouldn't make a difference because everyone would be there anyway.
There's many clubs like that. It's just the place to be at the time.
So I think that's where I've gone years later, putting my own nights on. It's hard doing it because it was so easy doing it back then, and now you've got to put the graft in.
Yeah, I've noticed it's getting much harder now as well.
Yeah, I've got to put the graft in. Like, you can get lucky with a couple of nights.
Yeah,
but
it's timing, isn't it? Everything. So like whether. Like, I put nights on before and I thought, it's going to be fucking rammed this, and it's like Bank Holiday Sunday, but then, say everyone's gone to Creamfields or something.
You can never judge it. If I've put a night on, I always hope for the worst, because if it's any better than what you're thinking, you've done all right, do you know what I mean? You've done a bit better. But, yeah, you don't know. It used to be a thing where you think, the weather's booming, you've got a night on, it's going to be mint, but everyone stayed in the garden all day getting wrecked and can't be asked going out then, do you know what I mean? So that's cocked it up for you straight away.
Yeah. So I wanted to get onto this, you were saying about like sort of getting yourself out there playing at these various clubs and stuff.
Yeah.
How did the sort of, because you're quite renowned with the Medicine sets, really. How did that come about?
I think because obviously I used to speak a lot with Archie, years when we were younger and all that, and I had him down Wrexham, and it was like, bit of advice, I'd put you on, I think that's how it come about.
Right.
So obviously when I went to Medicine, it's all hard, wasn't it, there? It wasn't vocally, Wiggy would play a bit of vocal now and then, but that was it. But when I've gone there, and Archie will tell you, I'm sure it was... I put classics on with my sets as well, don't I? So I was playing a bit more vocally, and I put Soul Production, Sell It To Me Heart or something like that.
Right.
And the manager had come over and he was like, I love your set, I'll be putting you on more, so that's where it just went from there.
Right.
I was getting put on, and he was Welsh as well, so he loved me, do you know what I mean?
I'm going to ask you, do you speak Welsh?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. Well,
right.
I say that, I could understand it. I went to a Welsh school.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Do you know Welsh schools? I've got a friend who went to a Welsh school.
Yeah.
And see when they would go on the break time for dinner and whatnot. If the teachers heard them, speak English on the thing. We used to. That's what he.
Oh,
That's what he said to me.
you're not allowed to, you know, it's not against the law, but that's what, you know, when we're in school, you're the lad and all that, do you know what I mean? They'd speak Welsh here, you'd be like, yeah, all right then. And I think that's why I never done well with me Welsh in school.
Yeah.
And so I could watch the telly now, or listen to the radio, and I know every single word. I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
But talking, I couldn't say it now.
Right, back once again for section 2. We had a bit of a technical issue there, but we're sorted now. I just want to get straight back into it. I want to ask you about how did the DOD thing come around, like Dosa Donk?
I just think probably from when I've been DJing in other places, like, it's got to be, from, you know, because we've all started off round about, you know, getting bookings, that type of nights. It's just knowing people, innit, really, I think.
And were you approached at all?
Yeah, probably. I honestly can't think. Like, we used to be out all the time, parties, knowing each other from there, really. So I think it was just a fancy coming on and doing a mix. And I'd probably, because going from like the Antidote days and all that as well, it's still the same group of lads, really, innit? And all that. You all know each other from there, from medicine and all the nights we used to do around there.
Right, so then you were putting them out. It doesn't need to be like the Dosa Donk thing, I just want to ask you. I talk about this with a few people in podcasts. There's times and that you remember in your past where you're not necessarily regarded as higher up, but you level up.
Yeah,
you know when you hear things
100%,
like,
yeah.
So when was the first time you would say you noticed that you'd leveled up?
When I'd done me volume 16.
16.
I know exactly what you mean. Like, 100%. That,
and
like,
what was the backlash off that? Like,
that's when I'd always, when my CDs are doing well with downloads and stuff like that. But I do know when I'd done that mix, even before I released it, I think it changed my style then. Do you know what I mean? Me mixing, and I could tell as well. And even though that'd be 10 years since into me DJing, do you know what I mean? I think I just clicked with how I wanted to go about things.
Right.
If you listen to any of my other CDs from before then, to 16 was totally different.
Right.
But even though 16 was 160 BPM, do you know what I mean?
I remember listening to your CDs, downloading them. I can't remember what site I downloaded them off. I'd download them and I'd hear them. And because I'm not a fan of the 160 thing, I used to like listen to the tune and then I'd go and hunt for the tune that you've played and just play its normal speed.
But I think the only reason why I used to play a bit faster is because, funny, half the time it was off my head. I'd been up for days, do you know what I mean? So it was always, I think that's why it was. It wasn't, do you know what I mean? And it was, I always thought, right, these are what you're going to be listening to in a house, in a party, and that's what we'd always, do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But there's a lot, but if I ever listen when I'm sober, I'll listen back, I'm like, oh my God, that's terrible. But when I've had a drink or whatever, it's a bit more like, ooh, yeah.
Right, so then, were you getting bookings off the back of volume 16, or were you getting recognition?
That's when I started doing peer off that. That's how I got my first peer booking off.
So how did that come about then? Obviously you were going with the Wrexham lot, but...
I stopped that. When I'd started peer, I'd stopped going for... I used to go from 2002 to 2007.
Yeah.
Every Friday. Didn't miss a Friday. And then one day I went there and I was just like, I'm not into it anymore because it just went... They started with that's when they brought the MCs were coming into it then. And I'd have put money on it years ago that peer would never have MCs there. And I think that's when I was like, I'm not into it now. Like, it lost its thing.
So what year did you get the first peer booking?
This is one, it's 2011. I think, yeah.
Right, so you caught the very back end of it. It shut in 2011?
Yeah, it shut in 2011, so so it couldn't have been. 2009?
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So did you catch good events, or was it quiet on the quiet end, or...?
Yeah, some of them I've done. Some of them were all right. It's nothing like they used to be years ago when I used to go. Do you know what I mean?
Was it a surreal feeling getting to be the DJ on there?
Yeah, because when I used to go, my thing was obviously when you're DJing as well, you'd go up and have a look when you see what they're doing, like, because like. So I'd always look at like Ben. I'd always look at Ben and thinking like everything he'd done, it was so calm, it was no rush, you know what I mean? It's like he used to do it and he'd just be like, straight away. He could beat match straight away.
Yeah.
Could do everything straight away. Everything was so. I'd just look at him for all the time, like trying to think like how's he doing that? Like he's no panic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like when you see someone queuing it up all song, he'd be like talking to people, and then when it's coming and mixing it in, he'd just put it straight and do it straight away, and he hadn't even beat matched it yet. He'd do it straight away on the spot. So I think that's how I used to. You take things in, don't you, to yourself, like.
So when you first went on, were you like, I've waited for this moment for a long time? Or?
Yeah, because I never get nervous. The first time I'd done it was weird because I've never got nervous doing a set. I'm never I don't get nervous. There's some that they really can't stand it, can they? The press, they get nerves really bad. But when I'd done that, I remember getting up and I was just like, that's weird, this. Like, that's... I don't know why. I don't know. It's just weird. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Who contacted you for the gig?
Ben, I think it was. Ben, yeah.
Fancy coming on? And...
Yeah. Well, I think Well, I'd done the first one. They said, "Well, we'll give you a go. See what we think." So I'd done that, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll put you on next month."
Right.
So I was like, "Oh, made up." Do you know what I mean? Because that's all I'd ever want to do. That's.
Absolutely,
anyway you want to do, anyone will tell you doing bounce B was the main one.
Yeah, it's like the Mecca, isn't it?
Yeah, so for them to ask you back, don't get me wrong, they were putting a lot of trying to put different ones on.
Spice it up a bit.
Yes, but but to ask you back, still I was made up. But I remember the flyer come out for the next month and I wasn't on it. And I was like, I thought I was on it, and they were like, well, we got a problem. I was like, what? They were like, we did have you on it ready, but we've seen that you're doing Maxime's. So we've took you off it. And I was just like, you're joking, do you know what I mean? Because I was a peerhead, I never liked Maxime's,
Yeah,
I think I went there once or twice, I literally didn't like it there, it wasn't my thing. And I was just like, I need to do this. I was like, look, I want to. They were like, your name's on the flyer.
Yeah.
You can't do it. So I made a point of going to Wigan that night I was supposed to be on, and go to Pier, and I took me booking off in Maxime's, and I was like, look, I'm here, do you know what I mean? They were like, right, tell you what, we'll give you another go. And then they were putting me on regularly then. I used to do it quite a lot.
I want to touch on the last night, Pier.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got to play. You were one of the final names on.
Yeah.
How was that?
Oh,
because I've asked people in the past, some of it recorded on the podcast, some of it just in person, and having a crack in a club or something. Was it like what you remember from when you first started going?
Yeah, that was, Do you know what I mean? That was just like, when you think that's all I've ever wanted to do is to play a lockout Pier, do you know what I mean? And I've done it, do you know what I mean? That's one thing that's like me main. That was the best thing of.
Right. So I just want to ask you now, when you did that, I remember talking to some people online at the time. I wasn't there. I was having crack with some of the DJs.
Yeah.
And I was saying, what you saying? Like, do you think? And they're like, oh, it'll be open next month.
Yeah.
Did you, when you seen that, did you know that this was the end for it, or did you think, oh, they're just going to shut it down for a month and reopen it? Because
I don't know with how it was weeks before that. I'm sure a couple of weeks before it closed, I think there was me, John Neal, John G, a few others. I mean, it was like a back to the old Pier night. There must have been about 20 people in there. And honestly, there was the lineup wasn't bad.
Good lineup,
like literally,
It was just that Bounce was on its ass that time.
But I think a lot to do with it as well was it used to be when you used to go in the Pier, you'd feel it in the queue outside the base and that. But when they had to knock all the restrictions with the sound and all that, that made a difference as well, I think.
Atmosphere,
yeah.
I just wanted to say about this because obviously I think you're the first person I've had on the pod that played the last night.
Yeah.
So, did it feel like was it like magical, like the old, like were you getting that like?
Yeah,
this is it.
I was made up with that one as well because I was on prime time really, and I was back to back with Ben.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it could have been anyone that couldn't. Ben to me was Mr. Pier. Do you know what I mean? He was. If it went for him. People don't realise, I don't think, without his CDs and all that.
Without them CDs, I don't think I'd be into Bouncer,
I know, like my favourite Pier CD is Mikey B, but it was Ben T, wasn't it? It was
everyone knew
if you
Wigan
didn't
Piers
have
volumes,
that, it wasn't thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like going back to back with them as well, and it being like lockout as well. You know, it was just awesome. Like,
I just want to put a theoretical question to you, right? Could you imagine the P being here now? Because I couldn't. Like, I can't imagine what the scene would be like if it was still here, because it was such a prominent fixture.
Well, obviously, when they'd done the Piers 30th birthday the other week, didn't they? The other month at Park Hall, that is the closest I've ever seen anything to the old pier.
Yeah.
You know, because I've always said with Park Hall, you've got the balcony, haven't you? You've got the same layout.
Yeah.
Because when I'd done Park Hall for Frequency years ago, they used to have the DJ box at the top and all that. So I've always said it was like pier.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think, you know, that was... Could you see it all? It'd be good, but how long would it last for?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? People, you look at these...
Like, do you think the scene's changed so much in the last 10 years that...
Yeah, but when I used to go out, there was something on every week. Every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there was stuff on. And people were going every week.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people go now, but could I see them going every week to a lot of places? No, but you look at events now, there might be 1-2 decent ones on a month if you're lucky.
Yeah. And I've noticed
do they
now...
all go? They don't all go.
I think numbers are down like I do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying not to be negative about it, but it would be nice if we could keep up what we've been building since Pier closed, and then there was a bit of a null, and then BTID's built up, Sopranos has built up in this time.
Yeah.
Obviously Kenty's events are built up, Sanctuary, and like I remember going to Sanctuaries a few years back, and they were like, I say a few years, a long time ago now.
Yeah.
And the numbers, everyone's numbers were down across the board, but everyone seems to be like, well, pre-pandemic, everywhere seemed to be booming. Every event you're putting on it, even the small promoters were getting full houses.
But that's why, like, I prefer smaller places. Do you know what I mean? Because you know you got more. I'm not saying it, but you got more of an atmosphere, haven't you? You know, your rushy, dirty places. Like I love them. I do.
I love the intimacy of being. The crowd can reach over.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be annoying at times with drinks and shit like that. But like it makes the atmosphere.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah.
Right. We're going to get some questions. Right. This is section 2. Just you may get straight into questions on section 2, but obviously with it failing on me. So here we go. Just remember as well, if you want to ask any questions at all to myself or the guests, just message the page on Instagram and on Facebook, or put it in the group as well, and I'll make sure that they get asked. We've got a lot of questions to get through, a big backlog because I put a post out the other day and that's what's happening. So we'll do a couple with you now, mate.
Yeah.
Hiya lad, what's your biggest regret / missed opportunity within the DJing journey? I don't want to be negative, so at the same time, what's your biggest achievement?
It's going to have to be the pier event. Do you know what I mean? Really, the last pier. Like I said, like we've just been on about going back to back with Ben T. Is
that your biggest? Is that like the pinnacle?
Yeah, definitely. Do you know what I mean? I've done a lot bigger crowds or a lot, you know, but for me, especially like I said, I've grown up. That was my thing, going to pier every week.
Yeah.
You know, and and to be able to say I've done it, and like you said, there wasn't like a lot on the lineup either, you know. There's a few, but to be picked, there could have been other people they could have picked.
Absolutely, they could have, yeah.
They could have picked anyone, do you know what I mean?
Right, and obviously not trying to sound negative, but what's your biggest regret / missed opportunity? Is it something you've turned down and you've thought, for?
I think, go on, like missed opportunities, I think I've cocked it up for myself over the years, whereas I think you'll know yourself, I've been going up to bookings wrecked, do you know what I mean? And I think everyone knows that, do you know what I mean? It's not a thing where I think if that hadn't have happened, I wouldn't change it because I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change anything I've done because I've had a laugh and all that, do you know what I mean? But I think with could I have been gone about it a better way, do you know what I mean? I could have, do you know what I mean? But then again, it's happened, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I'd say my missed opportunity. We talked about this off the pod as well. I got booked to play MAGA for Ultimate Getaway, Ravens Reunited, and my little lad was born a couple of weeks before, and or a couple of days before. I can't remember the exact thing. And I had to message them and say, listen, I can't make it. Obviously, I've just had a little lad.
Yeah.
And like looking back, like I say, I wouldn't have changed it. I would have still not went because you just had like a kid in that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was a missed opportunity, which I've never been booked for them since.
Well,
so,
for the Sable, I got booked for Scamner.
Yeah.
You know, Javi Bases one.
Yeah.
I got booked for that, and the day I was supposed to go, I lost my passport. So I didn't think they were going to bother put me on again, luckily, but yeah, I thought I missed an opportunity there.
My biggest achievement, I don't know. I haven't achieved much. So I liked playing.
But your
Spain.
teams have
Spain's
obviously
good.
good and all that, and you know what I mean? You're producing
mediocre.
side of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think playing Spain and France, I think they've been my big things. I grabbed that opportunity with both hands because like I'm a nobody in the Wigan scene, really. Like I said this in the last podcast. I've never played in Wigan ever.
No.
Considering it's the hub of Donk.
But it's mad how things you look at you want a DJ in Spain. I never thought I want a DJ in Scandal. But it's the only reason I did is because I won a Sanctuary comp.
Yeah.
I think I won it. Did I win it? Or I got put on main stage in Syndicate. Javi Bates was on, and I was on before him. And he turned round, he was like, I'm going to put you on with us, I want you on with us, I've been watching you.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because I'm probably the worst fucking one to put on the stuff I play.
Yeah.
You know, when you got the likes of Nicky B, or like at the time, when Nicky B could have just gone over there, and do you know what I mean?
You obviously like something about you, though.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it was like.
I think my biggest achievement was probably Spain and France.
Yeah.
The France one was like a return booking. I booked somebody from France and then they booked me back. But the other times I played in Spain, I've got it on sort of merit. So like, I don't think I earned it because I never really played that style.
This is what I mean. Yeah.
I put out one tune and it was a remix of Paramore. And it had like a donk drop in it.
Yeah.
And all the Spanish lot loved it. So I got a booking off that one tune.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
But like,
it's just weird how some bookings come about, isn't it?
Random, you know, like random because I didn't really play that. I just tried it in a track and that was it. And sort of that was the back of it. So next question. All right, pal. You've talked about away days in a couple of episodes. Question is, what is your favourite away day and why? I'm enjoying the vibe of these podcasts. Massively helped me get me through my work week. And that's from Joe. So away days, where's your favourite away day?
So as in DJing,
DJing or even fucking on the drink or something like that. Like
Newcastle.
You like Newcastle?
Oh, I love it. Been there?
Yeah, I've been in Newcastle. I live close-ish to it, don't I? So.
Well, like obviously used to years ago do the Ministry of Bounce nights for Richie and
they're coming back now, aren't they? Yeah.
And all them used to do the nights up there. And I think with Newcastle, it's a different thing in it. It's more party in it, Newcastle, and everything's dead big in it.
It's a weird one because like it's not massively known for bounce. I know bounce is big there, but like my favourite away day is Liverpool. I fucking love Liverpool. I mean, it's not far away from you, really. Is it?
I think
But like Liverpool, the people there just seem to be fucking sound. I've always had like my bucket list of doing gigs. One's in Liverpool. I mean, the scene's dead in Liverpool.
We went to a night years ago and. It was Hardcore Heaven in the also Carlin Academy at the time in Liverpool. But they had what they'd done. Pier had closed down then. Or Pier, they had a thing where it went on fire or something like that. I'm sure it was there. Yeah, it would have been then because it was when we used to go Pier. And so Pier had been closed down for a while, a month or two, because everyone had fucked off to Maxime's. That's why, even though Maxime's was busy at the time, everyone had. Didn't come back to Pier then, do you know what I mean? I think they cocked it up themselves for a bit, but they had a night on and they had all the hardcore lot upstairs, and then downstairs was Alex K, Mikey B, Lee Butler, and someone else. But tell you what, that's
rough.
A
fucking really good night.
Honestly, the CD packs are out, and it's the best night. Because I remember Butler started with It's House.
Right.
Move your body. Because he was the first one to play it then. but rough. And Liverpool is rough, I think. Like, you know, we used to go pleasure rooms and all that after beer and that.
Yeah.
And I used to eat it like, oh, buy pills off me, lad. No, I don't want any of that sex.
Nah, I love it. I love the away day. I love everything about it. Like, it's class. That's my way.
Yeah.
Newcastle's good. Don't get me wrong. Wigan's alright. Manchester's no, but for bouncing that, like, you know what I mean?
For bounce. But,
but it's an away day for me.
But it's mad. You look at Wigan now and. But it's everywhere. Wigan King Street used to be booming. You'd walk up from the car park to Pure and you'd be trying to get past people. And you go up now, it's like, even on a bank holiday Sunday, it's a ghost town. It's just weird how it's gone bad in it everywhere now. Like, but for bounce events and all that, like.
Manchester's good. I like Manchester for a night out.
Yeah.
Depends where you go and what you do, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah.
But for me, like, what I love doing about fucking Liverpool is going down to that hot water comedy.
Yeah.
Fuck me, that is so good, eh?
Yeah.
Like, but, like, and have a few beers there. And then it's like, I don't drink much anymore, but, like, just because I'm a fucking addict, do you know what I mean? Like, I find myself having fucking 8 cans on just on a weeknight for a reason.
I'm the same, like.
But, like, like having a couple of drinks, getting away head on in there, and then heading out into town afterwards. Quality, not else, a bit of laughter and that, get you in the mood, because you get lively in that, don't you, after? Next one, let's see, last one for today is Mush Mush. That's how it opened it. That was off Instagram, that. Mush Mush. Chinese or Indian, what we're saying, and that's from Tom H.
Chinese all day.
I
can't eat spice at all.
And if I said Indian, my missus would kick my head in. So you know. Nah, Chinese. I find with Indian's good, but it's dead salty. Yeah, like you always
Chinese is what it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of them, isn't it? For me as well. I like having the veg and all that in. Like when I get, I don't know about you, but my Indian up my way. They don't put any like onions or anything in the food.
I honestly Indian. I could not have it ever again. It doesn't bother me. Like,
but yeah, I've got Chinese. What are you getting from a Chinese then?
Do you know what? My missus goes, man, she's like, that's awful. Chicken and pineapple I have at the moment. Like,
I'm not a pineapple fan, but like,
love it. Like,
it is quite popular.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got the shop at home, so
yeah.
So like, it's quite popular.
Yeah, that's why I always have chicken and pineapple, and then about 100 starters.
Right, we're going to tie this up now because we've actually been going for ages, but it doesn't feel like it at all. I just want to ask you if you... I ask this to everyone now. I don't know if you've seen the later episodes or not, but if you were about to get the electric chair, because you've just been an absolute fucking retrobate, right, and you get one more meal, what you having?
One more meal?
Ever?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're a foodie, I know you are.
Yes, probably a mixed grill. Probably
grill.
Go for, yeah.
You having a starter?
Like me mixed grill. Yeah, probably like a spag bol for me starter.
Oh, fucking hell, mate. Hey. I was expecting... I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest. What you got for dessert?
Salad, just to keep it cool in it.
You've got it. You don't need to watch your weight or anything like that. You're going. You get a chair, aren't you? Nice. I just want to say thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. A few people have, when I put polls out and stuff, they said Joe, to get Joe on. Because he's got some stories. and I think this has proved it, this podcast. Just want to thank you all for listening. And where can people find you?
I'll be in Let's Have It, but that'll be gone by the time it comes out, won't it? Do you know what? You can ask anyone. I've got bookings, and I don't know when they are till someone tags me in the poster like a week before, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm there. Because I thought Let's Have It was next week.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Honestly, but my message goes, Matt, you need a diary, and I'm like, I'll put it in your phone, but I forget to put it in my phone. So
I can't do that because my missus will be on my back. Like,
I've got Wonderland.
Great event, that, by the way, isn't it? A fucking class event, that.
Yeah, then
I love that. Is it still at the same place? Is it in
it's Park Hall this time.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, because it was supposed to... Did you go to the last one?
Last one was at... it was in like a
Valiant's Farm.
Is that what it was? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I had to pay a toll to get over this little bridge.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. But I went there and I was just like, wow, this is unreal.
Yeah.
It's like a big cow shed, isn't it?
Yeah, did you see the room I was in, the little stable thing?
Yeah,
I was in there,
mate.
I went in there, I thought, oh, you're joking, but to be fair, it was awesome in there. I'd do that, I said to them, I'd do that all the time.
When I went in there, that style of music was very fitting to what you
well, because I play, don't get me wrong, I know there's me, see, I don't play 160, but I think it did go up to 160
Yeah.
in the end. But only because I could get away with it in there, do you know what I mean?
That's what them people are in that room for.
Yeah,
though, isn't it?
yeah, of course, yeah. Do you know what I mean? There's no point me playing 148 in there, do you know what I mean?
Where can people find you on social media?
On my Facebook and SoundCloud.
So just Joe Taylor, is it? Or DJ
so,
Joe
yeah.
Taylor? Fucking hell. You're not good at this thing. It's time to refresh. You can find it everywhere. Instagram, Facebook. For him, he just...
I don't know where
doesn't
I
have a
am.
clue. I just want to say thank you for listening. I'd appreciate if you enjoyed this, share it with your mates. It gets much more of a reach with the general listener than it does with us. Like I say on every episode, it can reach Joe's following, it can reach my following, but if you listen to it and you live somewhere fucking random where no one knows who we are, then you share it and it reaches all in your ears, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So thanks for listening. I'll see you again soon.
Right, see you later.